Good evening. This is All India Radio and I am Gurmala Kapoor with the news at 9. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates India's vision of a peaceful, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region at the 13th East Asia Summit in Singapore. Government will fund employers for 7 weeks of maternity leave to employees, says Women and Child Development Ministry. Severe cyclonic storm Gaja likely to make landfall around Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu late tonight. Saudi Arabia's public prosecutor seeks death penalty against 5 accused in journalist Jamal Khashoggi's murder. British Prime Minister Theresa May's government faces crisis as several ministers resign over Brexit draft deal. And in sports, Indian shuttlers Kidambi Srikanth and Samir Verma advance to quarterfinals of the Hong Kong Open. And in cricket, Indian Eves take on Ireland in their third group game of the ICC Women's World 2020 in Guyana. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reiterated India's vision of a peaceful, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region, the strengthening of maritime cooperation and commitment to a balanced regional comprehensive economic partnership. Mr. Modi said this after attending the 13th East Asia Summit, EAS, in Singapore today. Ahead of the EAS plenary session today, leaders of 18 countries of the Asia-Pacific region, which include 10 ASEAN countries and India, the US, Russia, Australia, South Korea, China, Japan and New Zealand, held informal talks during the lunch retreat. Our correspondent takes a look at the Prime Minister's 2-day Singapore visit.
Prime Minister had a very busy and hectic 2-day schedule during his Singapore visit. After reaching the East Asian city-state yesterday morning, he delivered the keynote address at the FinTech Festival and also launched API-X, a platform to connect FinTech companies to the banks of the world. He is the first head of a state to have been invited to deliver the address. Mr. Modi then held bilateral meetings with his Singapore counterpart Lee Hsien Loong and US Vice President Mike Pence. Prime Minister discussed terrorism, energy, defense, trade and other issues of India's interest with Mr. Pence. Mr. Modi also met Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Prime Minister of Thailand, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, yesterday itself. In the evening, the Prime Minister attended the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership or RCEP Summit. This morning, Prime Minister began his day with India-ASEAN Informal Breakfast Summit. Mr. Modi called it a great interaction with the ASEAN leaders. It was followed by interaction and award presentation to the winners of First India-Singapore Hackathon. Prime Minister then attended the East Asia Summit and immediately after the conclusion of the plenary of EAS, he left for home. The very focused 2-day visit of Prime Minister is yet another firm step towards Act East policy of the government. Tripti Srivastava, Singapore.
The Prime Minister has since returned to New Delhi after concluding his Singapore visit. The Women and Child Development Ministry today said the government will give employers the salaries for 7 of the 26 weeks of maternity leave for women earning more than 15,000 rupees a month. The announcement, which covers the government as well as the private sector, comes in the wake of complaints that many companies were reluctant to hire pregnant women after maternity leave was extended from 12 to 26 weeks and some were even firing women employees. WCD Secretary Rakesh Srivastava said after talks with the Labour Ministry, it has been decided to utilize the funds lying in the Labour Welfare Cess to pay the employers. Speaking to reporters in New Delhi, Mr. Srivastava said utilization of the cess lying with the state governments has been very little. Maternity leave was extended from 12 weeks to 26 weeks last year. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said the goal of financial inclusion of every Indian citizen will be achieved by this year end. Almost 80 million households will be covered. This continues to be the main agenda of the centre. Mr. Jaitley was opening the 25th World Congress of Savings and Retail Banks in New Delhi today. The theme of the 2-day Congress is Sustainable Retail Banking, Making Globalization Inclusive for All. Top bankers from across the world are attending the meeting. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Jaitley said the Indian government's agenda is to achieve a higher growth of the unbanked sector. The reach out has been a grand success. Noted economist S. Gurumurthy has termed implementation of demonetization and GST as the right decision of the government. Speaking on a subject related to the state of the economy, India and the world at a function in New Delhi, Mr. Gurumurthy said these policies are the building blocks of the future of the economy. He said without demonetization there could not have been GST, and it is formalizing the Indian economy. India's exports grew by 17.86% to $26.98 billion in October this year. The Commerce Ministry in a release said India's exports stood at $22.89 billion in October last year. The sectors which recorded healthy growth include petroleum, engineering, chemicals, pharma and the gems and jewellery sectors. In Kerala, the all-party meeting held in Thiruvananthapuram today to end the impasse over the Supreme Court verdict allowing entry of women of all ages in Sabrimala failed to reach a consensus. The state government and the opposition party stood firm on their positions. The shrine of the famous Ayyappa temple in Sabrimala will be open for the annual pilgrimage tomorrow evening. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan said that the government had no prejudice on the issue and it will implement the Supreme Court verdict since the court had not granted any stay on the verdict. He added that the government would hold discussions with the stakeholders of Sabrimala to explore various options. The opposition leader Ramesh Chennithala said that they boycotted the meeting as the government refused to pay attention to their suggestions to seek more time from the apex court. He said the Congress-led UDF also asked the government to keep on hold the implementation of the order till the Supreme Court hears the review petitions in January. Meanwhile, BJP State President P.S. Sridharan Pillai said that the government had turned the all-party meet to a drama. He said both the CPM and the state government shared the same view on the issue and the meeting was just an excuse. Shamila, AR News, Thiruvananthapuram.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. You can also log on to our website newsonair.nic.in. Severe cyclonic storm Gaja is expected to make landfall around Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu late tonight. Chief of the Met Department in Chennai, Dr. Balachandran said the outer band of the cyclone has been touching the coast. However, the eye of the storm is currently located at 130 kilometers east-northeast of Nagapattinam and it is set to take a few more hours to cross the shores. The cyclone is moving at a speed of 10 kilometers an hour and is set to weaken at the time of its landfall. With Cyclone Gaja making landfall, the wind speed is expected to be about 80 to 90 kilometers, gusting up to 100 kilometers an hour. Light to moderate rain is being witnessed since this evening in several parts of Kadalur, Nagapattinam, Thiruvarur, Thanjavur, Puthukottai, Tuticorin and Ramnathpuram districts that are on the path of the cyclone. The state administration has asked people in the region to remain indoors. Union Minister P. Radhakrishnan has assured that the centre will extend all required help to the state administration to tide over the cyclone. More from our correspondent.
In view of the cyclone Gaja, the National Disaster Response Force teams along with their state counterparts are camping in identified locations for rescue and relief operations. They will be assisted by hundreds of first responders, interdepartmental zonal teams, the fire and rescue personnel and the police. The Indian Navy has stationed 2 of its warships on standby to help the authorities in rescue missions. The Navy has also kept the multi-mission maritime aircraft P-8I and Dornier helicopters in its air bases on standby to carry reconnaissance, rescue, casualty evacuation and airdropping of relief materials whenever required. Jay Singh, AR News, Chennai.
In Chhattisgarh, star campaigners of various political parties are touring different districts to canvass support for their candidates for the second phase of assembly elections. 72 assembly segments, which are going to the polls on November the 20th in this phase, are spread across 19 districts of the state. More from our correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to address an election rally at Ambikapur, the divisional headquarters of Sarguja, tomorrow. Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today addressed election meetings at various places of the state to seek support for BJP candidates. Rajnath Singh said, after the 15 years rule of Raman government in Chhattisgarh, the faith of public over BJP has increased. On the other hand, senior Congress leader RPN Singh said that Chhattisgarh state is rich in resources, but due to the wrong policies of the BJP government, the state is burdened with a loan. Aam Aadmi Party chief Arvind Kejriwal will also address election meetings tomorrow simultaneously in the 68 constituencies of the state digitally. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
In Madhya Pradesh, campaigning has gained momentum for election to the 230 assembly seats of the state. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to address about 11 rallies to boost the BJP's campaign in the state from tomorrow. Our correspondent has more.
BJP President Amit Shah and Textile Minister Smriti Irani addressed election rallies in various places in MP today, while from tomorrow Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take charge of the BJP's campaign from Shahdol. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is likely to address rallies in 10 districts in 5 days to boost the BJP's campaign in the state. Congress President Rahul Gandhi will also address election rallies in MP from tomorrow. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Rajasthan, 118 candidates filed their nominations for 88 seats on the fourth day today. An election commission team will reach Udaipur tomorrow on a 2-day visit to the state. Our correspondent reports the Chief Election Commissioner O.P. Rawat, along with Commissioners Sunil Arora and Ashok Lavasa, will review the preparations for assembly elections in the state. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena today met Speaker Karu Jayasuriya and other party leaders for talks in an attempt to end the stalemate in Parliament. The meeting took place at the Presidential Secretariat this evening. United National Party UNP Assistant Leader Ravi Karunaнаike said that an agreement was reached to resolve the crisis by holding again a vote of confidence tomorrow. The President reportedly gave the assurance at the meeting that he will address the issue in Parliament and resolve it over the next few days. British Prime Minister Theresa May suffered a huge blow today after a number of resignations over UK's draft Brexit agreement with the European Union. Her Brexit Secretary, Dominic Raab, quit, saying he cannot reconcile to the terms of the proposed deal. Work and Pension Secretary Esther McVey and Junior Brexit Minister Suella Braverman has also quit. Junior Northern Ireland Minister Sailesh Vara, Parliamentary Private Secretaries Anne-Marie Trevelyan and Ranil Jayawardena also stepped down. Prime Minister May took largely hostile questions from MPs in the House of Commons for nearly 3 hours over the agreement. 5 Saudi officials face the death penalty over the alleged murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi inside the kingdom's Istanbul consulate, Riyadh's public prosecutor said today. However, he said Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has not been implicated in the murder. In badminton, India's Kidambi Srikanth and Samir Verma advanced to the quarterfinals in the men's singles of the Hong Kong Open World Tour Super 500 tournament today. However, Olympic silver medalist PV Sindhu lost to South Korean Sung Jae-H in the pre-quarterfinal of the women's singles category. Fourth-seeded Srikanth defeated fellow Indian HS Pronoy in a thrilling match, while Samir qualified for the quarterfinals after his opponent, Olympic champion Cheng Long, pulled out of the competition due to an injury. In the ICC Women's World 2020 cricket at Guyana, India were 56 for no wickets in 8 overs against Ireland in the third group match when reports last came in. Earlier, Ireland won the toss and elected to field. The Indian Eves have won both their first 2 matches. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates India's vision of a peaceful, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific region in the 13th East Asia Summit in Singapore. Government will fund employers for 7 weeks of maternity leave to employees, says Women and Child Development Ministry. Severe cyclonic storm Gaja likely to make landfall around Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu late tonight. Saudi Arabia's public prosecutor seeks death penalty against 5 accused in journalist Jamal Khashoggi's murder. British Prime Minister Theresa May's government faces crisis as several ministers resign over the Brexit draft deal. In sports, Indian shuttlers Kidambi Srikanth and Samir Verma advanced to quarterfinals of the Hong Kong Open. And that is all in the news at 9. Good night.